It's really unfortunate. One of the things that I've always held on to about China was the simple fact that it's not the Chinese people's fault for the way that things are, and that it's the CCP's fault for the way that things are. And realistically, that is still true, I think, in certain ways in today's world. But one thing is we cannot continue to ignore the fact that Chinese people have had plenty of time and exposure to fix the issues that are at hand. Some of them, being racism. One of the things that I really experienced in China as a foreigner was racism. Racism was, something that I experienced every day. And I used to make these comments to try to explain the racism, and I would say, well, like it's understandable because the racism in China is, 98% of the people are Chinese, and that's true. To a point, that's a major reason that racism gets experienced in China by outside people. But that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't, mean that it's something acceptable. That doesn't mean that it's something that people shouldn't be learning from and fixing. And that's one of the reasons I left China was because of the racism. And when Shinzo Abe died, and you know, scratching my nose here on camera, when Shinzo Abe died, and I seen the videos of Chinese people celebrating his assassination. When I seen the videos of people that were laughing at his assassination on the internet, I really was put back again by how far Chinese people have come socially as a group of people. To think that Japanese people are Asian and that they, in many ways look the same, have a lot of the same cultural, things in common, eat a lot of the same foods, are practically the same people. But yet Chinese people hold such indifference with them. To me, that was something that it pushed me back again and reminded me that the issues of China are not always just government, that many times they are people. Of course, Japan attacked America too. And it's definitely not forgotten, but it's something that has been forgiven and something that has been gone over and something that has been talked about. Whereas if in China, it's like there's never any forgiven. There's the propaganda doesn't allow it. The culture doesn't allow it. And today recently I seen Randy Flagg, who if you don't know who Randy Flagg is, he's an African American living in Shanghai, and he's a person that I see complain about racism in China, quite often, and rightfully so. I'm not being I'm not saying he's wrong. He's definitely doing it rightfully so. The racism that I experienced in China was pretty bad, but I couldn't imagine what him, as an African American, I can't imagine what he experiences. Um, and it just goes back to the question, how long can we blame CCP before we start looking at it and saying, hey, like, there are some problems with society here, that there are some problems with, the way that people think about things in this country. And it's something that, like Jordan Peterson says, you can't always blame the government for everything because the government is the people. And in certain ways, I think that's why government in America is so mixed, and why government in China is so monotone, shall we say. I firmly believe that most Chinese people probably are, probably do feel the same way that the Chinese government does about a lot of things. And that says a lot when you consider the fact that there's not a single person of different color, or even many female or any female people in politics in China. I think that says a lot socially about a country's government and about a country's people. And again, how many of these terrible things, like when you try to get on the train and people push you out of the way, or when you get off the train and people just run you over, when you see people spitting, when you see people throwing trash, how many of these types of things can you blame on the government before you have to start saying, you know what, it's time for the people to take responsibility for themselves? How long before they start taking actions for their own responsibilities, right? There has to be a time, there has to be a moment. And again, as much as I would like to stand up for Chinese people, I've come to realize that there are a lot of Chinese people that a lot of these negative things are not the problem of the government. My wife doesn't throw her trash on the ground, and my friend's wife doesn't throw her trash on the ground, and a lot of the Chinese people I see, here in America don't throw their trash on the ground, and so it's like, is it a blame the government situation? Is it an entirety of culture, or whatever may it be? But the thing is even in China, when you see parents, the way that they act in China, holding babies over trash cans and while they take a dump, and saying that it's okay to do that, and why are Chinese people not complaining for more civil rights? Why are Chinese people not complaining for more bathrooms? Why are Chinese people not complaining about there not being soap in the bathrooms? When people talk about China and zero COVID in China, I laugh, because I'm like, you guys can't even get soap in the bathrooms. How are you gonna fix something like COVID when you don't even have soap? You know what I mean? There are so many issues in China that have to be fixed on a ground level by people. The government is not going to fix itself. People have to fix themselves before the government is going to fix itself. And I think deep down that is another reason that I left China, was because I was sick and tired of waiting on those Chinese people to change. Because it's true, not all Chinese people are that way. There, of course, are very smart, very well-traveled, very clean Chinese people. But the unfortunate truth is that there are masses of them that throw trash, that spit, that do these unruly things getting on and off of buses and trains and airplanes. And they ruin it, not just for other Chinese people, but for the rest of the world. And I feel like that's why a lot of Chinese people even leave China, because they're trying to get away from those other people. And that sounds strange. But that is just something that I noticed, that over the last few topics of things in China that I have wanted to make a video about, and that is the social accountability of one another in China. It is time for Chinese people to stand up, to say that the spitting is wrong, that throwing trash is wrong, that pushing people in and off of the trains is wrong, that holding on to something, you know, as long ago as what Japan did, it's wrong. You've got to be better than that, you know. To laughing and celebrating the assassination of a Japanese president or ex prime minister, whatever the point, is wrong. That people have to be better. That people can't live such a barbaric way in today's standard and not expect the rest of the world to be confused by it. That's all I wanted for today's video. Like, comment, subscribe. Probably going to try to push out videos more often, focus more on just getting videos completed as opposed to perfect, because, you know, let's be honest, I'm not motivated enough to do perfect videos. So, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.